What's up, guys? In this episode of Roll Off Rundowns, we have a very special guest, Mr. Josh Roman from American AF Dumpsters. And he's here to share his wealth of knowledge about starting a dumpster business and growing a dumpster business. Make sure you stick around to the end because Josh will share what he thinks are the biggest threats and opportunities for the industry. Let's jump in. All right, Josh, for those of you that don't know you, which would be strange because you're all over the internet and you have a great social media presence, but I think that not a lot of people know your story. Could you tell us how you got into the dumpster rental industry?
Yeah, it's actually a long, boring story, but no, um, I, it was just by need, really, at the end of the day. I mean, I've always owned a business since I was 18 years old. Like I started my first security business when I was 18. My last business that I had before the dumpster rental industry was a limousine company, right? And obviously, I mean, we were doing really well. Every year was just tracking up and up and up and up. When I sold the company, we sold after 16 years of being in business. But COVID hit us hard. I mean, just like every other business out there, COVID really hit us hard. It went from, when we had limos, we had 24 limos at the time during COVID, and every single one of them were parked for months at the shop. So I really felt like I needed to. At that time, I felt like I had all my eggs in one basket. I did. Everything was just that company, solely that company, and we went to zero. We went from good revenue, lots of employees, to zero, and actually negative because we had to refund a lot of people money. So, so I started looking for a business that, regardless of what would go on in the economy, hopefully not recession proof, because really nothing is technically recession proof, right? But I was looking for something that I could take what I've learned and apply it to that business. And so I just landed on trash somehow. I had an old pickup truck, an F-350. The thing was just a junker that was just sitting there. And I went out and I bought a $4,000 cargo trailer. And so that's that. I just wanted to do something. Honestly, I didn't know if it was going to be a business or a side hustle or just a little bit of income. But I wanted to do something because I could not just sit for days on end waiting for the government to tell us that we can go back outside and stuff. So that's how I started.
So was it with one dumpster? That's all you had?
Wasn't even a dumpster. It was a cargo trailer that I had to manually unload by hand, which was a nightmare. But yeah, it was just one cargo trailer is how I started. I bought the thing brand new, $4,000 at the dealership, at a trailer dealer. And on the way home, I posted it on Craigslist, just that I wanted to rent it out. And so within the first 2 hours, I get home and I got an email or a response to my Craigslist ad that they needed it in Ennis, which was 20 minutes from me at the time. So within 2 hours, I delivered my first cargo trailer. Little did I know that they didn't bag one thing. It was a mobile home clean out, not one bag. So it was 15 yards full of papers, books, kitchen stuff. I mean, just tossed in there. And so it was literally me and my dad, and we didn't know where to go. I had never been to a landfill before. I mean, I don't know. I just never been to a landfill because I didn't really have the need to. So we didn't know where to go. We went to a convenience center here in Waxahachie, and if anybody's been to one of those, it's not technically a transfer station. It's definitely not a landfill. It's just like you're dumping your stuff into another dumpster. And so we're doing it by hand and one shovel and like 105. It was hot. And so I was just questioning life at that moment. But that was the start. That's what started everything.
So as you started to grow, it's like, obviously it's like, wow, this is, I just bought the thing and I got it rented out. As you started growing, like what were some of the challenges you faced in the beginning?
So 100% was just what I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know what I didn't know at all. When I say I've never been to a landfill before I owned this business, I'm not kidding. I didn't know what a roll-off trailer was. I didn't know what I mean, you always see dumpster trucks all the time, but to me, those just look the same as a dump truck. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know that a dumpster can be rolled off of a truck, like how we do it. just my ignorance at the end of the day, right? So, which is one of the main reasons why I started from the beginning. I started the channel because I wanted to document my journey. Just from, I wish I would have done it in a limo company because that was a fun business to me too. Like I loved, just having an idea, a concept. We had some really unique limousines, and so having that idea and then talking to the builder back and forth and then actually executing on it and seeing the finished product was just, that was fun to me. So I always wished I would have done that in the limousine industry. And so my son at the time also kind of like challenged me. He's like, dude, you need to start a YouTube channel. He was, I don't know, what was it, 5 years ago? So he was like 8 or something. And so he wanted me to start a YouTube channel, and that's kind of why I did it. He pushed me to it, but I also thought it'd be cool to document my journey and really kind of show other people because there was really nobody else doing it as far as like dumpsters, right, at the time. So I didn't know what a standard rail was. I didn't know what a hook lift was. I didn't know any of that stuff. Matter of fact, I did every step along the way that you probably shouldn't do, but I went from cargo trailer to dump trailer to roll off trailer to then roll off hook truck and then, bigger truck. So it's like I didn't miss a step. I tripped a lot and I fell on my face plenty of times, but I didn't miss a step in the process.
Well, first of all, if you don't follow Josh on socials, the channel that he has really does help and give knowledge. So thank you for doing this for the industry because you're, like you said, you didn't know anything and you're helping others that also don't know anything. Hopefully not make some of the mistakes and whatnot up front. So we'll drop a link to that in the description. But if there's one thing as you were starting out and starting to grow into this, if there's one thing that you can go back and change, what would that be?
It's easy to say, hard to do, but don't be cheap when you're buying equipment because I struggled way more than I should have buying a cookie cutter roll off trailer instead of a commercial grade roll off trailer, if that makes sense. Like if you're going to go the trailer route, there's nothing wrong. There's guys that hate on trailers. There's guys that, mainly it's always the guys with the trucks that say, oh, you little trailer guys, but 9 times out of 10, they also started in trailers. So let's not play around. Like, you got to start somewhere, and nobody wants to start, $150, $250, $300,000 in the hole.
In other news, we just released the Dumpster Industry Benchmark Report. This is the first time that the industry has had a benchmark report, so you can compare your dumpster business to others around the country. Visit yourdocket.com to download a copy today.
Of a roll-off trailer, and if you really want to make this a business, the business comes with contractors and the business comes with commercial jobs. And so a lightweight trailer is not going to do you any good. So I reinvented my company 2 different times in the 5 years that I've been in business, right? And one was when I went from trailer to hook lift to truck to big truck. And another one was when I went from cargo trailer to roll off trailer. But I bought the cheap package deal, right? And within days, I had the trailers. I've got videos of it snapping in half at a job site. I didn't know what to do. It broke so many times. It just did not handle the work that I was putting it through. So that would probably be, I feel like, one of my biggest mistakes is definitely just going the cheaper route. Because when I sold my roll-off trailer to go truck, when I say I reinvented myself, I sold, I want to say it was the roll-off trailer and 12 cans to then go to a hook lift truck and 5 cans. I lost like 2 months of revenue, 2 months of work doing that. So I basically downgraded, but I downgraded to something that I could scale from, if that makes sense.
Let's move on to growth. So as okay, great, I'm getting business and I'm starting to I want to scale this thing up. I had to reinvent myself, so I downsized so I can scale. But is there a decision that stands out that helped you kind of draw that line in the sand and say, okay, now that I've reinvented myself, here's my plan for growth and here's how I'm going to get there?
A defining moment, I wouldn't say there was a defining moment or decision that was made, other than, like I said, having the right equipment is the key to scaling 100%. So again, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of guys that have 500 cans with trailers, and that's all power to you. All, great. That's awesome. Um, the way I wanted to scale, and it's funny again when I say I reinvented myself several times throughout this business. In 5 years of business, there are several times, and if you go back to all my old videos, you're going to see that I've said I don't want to go CDO. I don't want to get a DOT. I had a DOT in my limo company, and I got audited 2 different times by them, and that was a process I don't ever want to go through again because it was really tough. Because again, I didn't know what I didn't know. Now I know a little bit more, so I should be able to be okay. But I said, I didn't want to scale. I wanted a business where it was just me, no employees, and here I am. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm growing more and more, and that happens, and that's okay. Like you can literally have a vision for your business one day, and the next day it's not about your vision for your business. It's about your customers' needs and your community's needs that really kind of supersede your own vision sometimes, and really kind of lead you towards where you should be offering your services, right? And I say that because there's guys that I know that have started in a dumpster business and have gone different ways. I've got a guy who I know that started doing dumpsters, and his community or his needs, his customer base needed him more to do rock delivery, and started doing driveways. And now he's doing, all these driveways and stuff like that with his equipment versus dumpsters. I know another guy who's doing junk removal instead, so it just really depends on where your customers lead you to, and where the money is coming from, because at the end of the day, that's what pays the bills in my eyes. So to answer your question, I'm sorry, I didn't really answer your question per se, but there wasn't a really defining moment or a piece of equipment. But it's just, to me, it's more like listen to your customers' needs and always try to find a way to meet that need, and then usually the money will come.
I think a scary thing for some haulers is, okay, I'm getting business and it's steady, but I don't know when to buy and invest in new dumpsters, new equipment, new trucks, hire new employees, because that could be scary, right? Like what if the business doesn't keep coming, then I have to fire people, or I'm over invested. Can you help the audience understand, like, what helps you make the decision that I can do this and I feel confident about it?
I partner with a lot of good people that offer the same type of service that I do. And so what I do is, again, my gut and my data kind of always are in line as how I feel. So what I do is I start farming out jobs to other local guys. And once I start seeing that, hey, look, I just farmed out 10 jobs to a guy, more than 10 jobs to a guy just the other day doing a demo job. He turned a really good profit on that, and I made a little bit, don't get me wrong. But once I start seeing that, hey, I'm starting to not turn away, but I'm starting to farm out, or pay somebody else to do these jobs. And if I would have had my own cans, I could have made more money. Then that's when it's definitely time. So usually it's not a specific number. It's just like I look back at the data and say, okay, well, let's say I did 150 or 100 dumpster rentals last month. Of those, 25 or 50, 25 of those are farm outs to other companies. Well, then maybe it's time for me to start buying more cans. And then you mentioned earlier, as far as employees is concerned, I only have one driver. I added 2 drivers. The second guy didn't work out just the other day. And so I've been kind of on the fence on whether or not I'm going to hire a second driver before winter comes. So I go through the same struggles that everybody else does. Like, should I hire? Should I not hire? The way I look at as far as hiring employees, and this is a really good question because it does get asked a lot. When is it time to hire an employee? Sorry, hit the mute button. A lot of people are scared to hire a new employee. And so I'm not scared, because that means my company is growing. And so I want to hire, but I want to make sure I'm hiring smartly. And so the only way that I look at it is, okay, am I full-time in the truck? Am I more than full-time in the truck? Can I afford to guarantee my employee a minimum of 40 hours a week? Because I don't want to hire a part-time employee. I want to hire somebody, and I want to make sure that his main bread and butter is this company, so that he's vested in this company as well. And so if I'm running consistently 40, 50, 60 hours a week, it's time for me to hire an employee. I will always be that backup driver until I'm no longer a backup and I'm full-time. And then that's when it's my decision to hire another driver. And that's how I'm going to scale this company over and over and over again, hopefully till I'm 10, 20, 50 trucks in.
Nice. What's one investment that you've made in your business that paid the biggest dividends?
Myself. I mean, education into myself to me is like the most important way to grow your business. Whether it's, and I'm not big. I mean, I don't know if you can see it back there, but I've got the Alex Hormozy's latest book. I'm not really big into Alex Hormozy or any other like online guru. I'm not trying to be anything. I just want to be a resource for people to grow their business. But there's a lot of good people out there, and so you've got to navigate the waters and really kind of make sure that you're following people or that aren't just in it for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, but when I say invest in yourself, invest, and that's exactly why, and I don't mean to pitch the show, and I'm not trying to, but that's exactly why I started the show, because there was nowhere for us dumpster guys to go to that, it took me years. It took me years to find an insurance guy who knew the dumpster industry. I was calling State Farm. I was calling, Allstate. I was calling all kinds of companies, and none of them know our industry specifically. So they wanted to categorize us as junk removal or as this or that. And so to be able to find somebody who specializes in the dumpster industry after all these years, well, I want to save other people the headache and the time and the frustrations of doing that, and money, because you're losing money. So invest in yourself. Come to these kinds of shows, not just this show, but go to other shows, go to networking events, create your own network. I've been a big proponent of creating your own network events in your own area. We've got a group of 10, 12, 15 guys that are all in a text message group that we're constantly texting each other every single day, to the point that I actually have to mute them because sometimes it gets to be overwhelming, but it's good stuff. Don't get me wrong. And so, go to the local chamber meetings, go to your local BNI, and really help yourself grow your company, because at the end of the day, you're your best salesperson.
What's an obstacle that you see other haulers facing when they're trying to grow?
There's several things. If we're talking about like internally, it's definitely fear. It's definitely the fear of failure, which to me, thank God I don't have that for some reason. Like, I just go head first into anything that I do. And so it's like, what can I lose? But a lot of people are afraid to start something, to go outside the box, and to like, afraid to get outside their 9 to 5. And so fear is a huge obstacle. If we're talking about outside obstacles, we could talk about franchise cities all day long, and how like, Texas and plenty of other states have these franchise agreements, which, if you guys don't know, are like exclusive mutual agreements between a city and one specific dumpster company who has control of all the waste in the entire city. I'm not talking about dumpsters only, but we're talking about weekly trash pickups and front end loaders at commercial facilities, things like that. That is a huge obstacle for all of us, that we cannot just let them continue to get away with. So I've been trying to find attorneys, to find what do you call those guys, like advocates or whatever. There's one person in particular I've reached out to several times. I'm hoping he responds back one of these days, but where like he's fought these cities as well in the past and other places. And so that is really difficult for us to that we're all as an industry are up against, because if it's happening here in Texas, and it's happening in other states too, I don't know specifically which states, but it's gonna not only continue, but it's gonna snowball into the states that don't have it currently, in my opinion. So somehow we've got to all kind of get together to fight this.
We just released the dumpster industry benchmark report, first time in the industry, really great data that came out of it. But one thing that stood out to us was that only 5% of the industry is getting rentals from their website, basically. So on people going online, renting a dumpster from your website. You have an awesome website, and I'm sure yours is higher than 5%. But I think this is a huge opportunity. So what role does your website play as a hauler in your business?
It's your digital business card, right? It represents you. And actually, for the third time, we're redoing our website. So I'm never really happy with the website. Like, I love the website now, but there's things that I don't like. And so we are actually redoing it again. as much as I am on social media, I'm so antisocial that if I can avoid a phone call sometimes, I will book I'll book stuff online, so it is what it is. And so to me, it's way more convenient to have online booking. Some people prefer it and other people hate it and they just want to make the phone call, and that's okay too. So as long as you have that option for both people, then you got the best of both worlds, and you can do that. It saves us time. It saves us headache. Not really headache, but it saves us time in the office to have to, take the phone call, all that stuff. And it's so much nicer to be able to get a booking where you sleep. You're making money where you're sleeping, in other words. But website to me is definitely a huge deal. I think the future of where websites are going, as far as like AI, making sure that your website's able to be found on AI search engines like ChatGPT and all that stuff, is going to be paramount to the future of online search. So that to me is on top, one of the things that I'm trying to stay on top of.
Yeah, like waking up and getting business, it's your salesperson that's able to work 24 hours a day. So definitely invest in that if you haven't already. What do you see as the biggest opportunities for haulers as we prepare to go into 2026, which I can't believe we're there, but we are there.
Everybody always says, I get to blame for a lot of it, though, but everybody always says that the market or the industry is flooded, or the industry is just tapped out. There's too many people, too much competition. I don't see that. I see there's plenty of opportunity for us small guys to go in and make a dent, because I don't look at myself as I'm fighting against, Omar or Dustin down the street, or Dylan over there in North Texas, or any of the other guys in our local network. I don't see myself competing against them. I am competing against CWD. I'm competing against Waste Management. I'm competing against Republic. I want their business. When I see a Republic dumpster, I am doing everything I can to try and find out, how long it's been there, how overloaded is it. I'm taking a mental note, like, okay, this thing was full 3 days ago. It's still there, full, overflowing. Again, I'm antisocial, so I'm not that guy to be like go in and knock on doors and be like, hey, who's paying for the dumpster here? But I have. Don't get me wrong, I have. And so I eventually want to hire a salesperson to do that for me, somebody who's way more better at that kind of stuff than I am. But I'm not competing against them. So what opportunities are in 2026 is to me, the door is wide open for any of us small guys to go in and compete. Quit thinking about, oh, there's another dumpster guy that just started up down the road. He's got a roll-off trailer. He must be following those YouTubers that are giving out all that free advice, or whatever. It's like, if you're thinking about that, if you're worried about the small guy who started, a week ago, and you've been in business for a year or 2 years, then you just need to focus more on yourself and your business, because you've got a 1 to 2 year head start on that person, and they should not be anywhere near coming, being a threat to you. So, again, I go off on tangents, but it all revolves around your question a little bit. But there's plenty of opportunities out there. You just got to get out there and market yourself. Use what we have available to us nowadays. I've never been really big on social media, and so like for YouTube, and for me to be on YouTube is crazy for my whole family when they think it when I tell them or when they see me. But it's free advertising. Like, the amount of business that I've gotten from people that say, hey, I followed you on YouTube, or I saw you on YouTube. I need a 40-yard dumpster. Can you get me one? Absolutely. There's no question about it. Like, it's free marketing, free advertising. And if you compare that to what I'm paying in Google Ads, I mean, I'd be paying twice as much, if not 3 times as much, compared to the free advertising that I've gotten off social media. So, but how many people are doing it? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at TikTok, it's starting to pop up, though. There's more and more companies out there that are doing more marketing, and it's good. I like to see it. But if you look on TikTok, maybe 10, 20 creators out there that are doing it consistently. And so, if you walk the walk and talk the talk and actually go out there and market yourself, instead of thinking, I just started a new company, I've got a website, I'm waiting for the phone to ring now for them to call me. and actually go out there and put yourself out there, be vulnerable, and put yourself out there, the opportunity is endless.
That's awesome. You mentioned some of the big boys being a threat. Is that the biggest threat to the industry, or is there something bigger?
No, it's literally, to me, the monopoly agreements between cities, and I'm being strong-held. I don't know how you say it. I'm being strong-held right now by a big city here locally, Fort Worth. I'll say it. I have no problem. They've sent me all these packets that I have to sign up with them to be a hauler and give them a percentage of my business there in that city. And so that to me is the biggest threat in our industry.
This has been really good advice all the way through. So thank you again for doing this. But if you were to leave our audience with what's one piece of advice that you wish someone told you when you were starting out?
Oh man, there is so much out there now that there wasn't just 5 years ago. And I'm not talking about just my like 600 videos. I'm not talking about just my videos, but there's some really good content creators out there. There's a bunch of free advice. Don't pay for any advice. Like, don't pay for I've never sold a book, a course. Not saying that there's anything wrong with it. It's just there's just so much free stuff out there. So before you pay for anything, consume everything that you possibly can in the industry. Like when I go into I've done security. I did an indoor soccer facility for a few years. I actually love that. That was a lot of fun. I've done limousines. I've done you name it. I've done several different businesses in the past, and every single one of them. And now we're franchising American AF. So every single one of them that I've done, though, I've consumed myself in the business, if that makes sense, right? I'll eat, sleep. I mean, I'm doing every little bit of research that I possibly can. And there's just so much free information out there. Pick and choose what you take, though. And I'm not saying all information is good information either. Some of the stuff that I've said in the past is 100% wrong, or what applies for me may not apply for you, right? So, be smart about it, but also consume yourself with the free content, the free stuff that's out there. If you can, again, network, go out and meet somebody, go work for a company for a little bit if you have to, even for a few months, just to get a feel for like an inside view. Maybe you won't even like this industry. Maybe this industry is not for you, and that's okay. So one piece of advice that I wish, is just, I wish there was more content out there when I started, but there is now, so there's no excuse. And so, yeah, take it for what it's worth. Go watch some videos, and yeah, and come out to the Dumpster Expo.
Nice, well said. So you heard it from Josh. Go watch his videos. His are excellent. So please subscribe to his channel. Come to the Dumpster Expo in November. We're going to be right outside of Dallas. Docket will be there as well as a bunch of other great vendors. So thank you, Josh, for doing this, and we'll see you in the next one.